Okay. Alright, before we start this Chelsea match review, what is up, lads? CM9 here. Before we start this match review, I gotta make a confession. I bet you every single Chelsea fan out there has probably got a special case with their doctor or GP. If my heart fails me over a weekend because of a football match, I am allowed to have a heart donated to me the following day. I go to the hospital, I get my poor heart ripped out of me, then I get the donated heart and put it back in again, and then I'm fine. And then the next weekend is exactly the same thing. I donate another heart, rinse and repeat. Because I swear to God, this team just makes me feel like I want to do this every week. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. What kind of a game was that against Valencia tonight? Oh my days. 2-2 at the Mestalla. Oh my days. I don't even know where to begin with this one, boys. I really don't. I'm literally stumped. I don't even know how to start. I don't even know how to what to feel. Because that was one hell of a roller coaster of a football match we just witnessed. So, okay, let's just start off with the basics. The goals. We went 1-0 down after 40 minutes because of an absolutely terrible piece of defending in the box. Winger crosses it in, even though he's got like bags of space, because our defending is poor. Crosses it in. The guy in the penalty box meets up with the ball. I don't know how the ball sort of makes contact with his foot like 3 or 4 times. Kepa puts a hand to it, but it still goes into the corner. But then, wow, Mateo Kovacic, finally, he's actually scored a goal. Mateo Kovacic, best player on the pitch, but that's not saying much because the rest of them were pretty mediocre. But Mateo Kovacic, fantastic performance today, and he got a goal. Well deserved, because, you know, Kovacic really needed to have been on the score sheet this season because of the number of times he's had a chance to score a goal this season. And, well, he's finally put one in the net after so many games of asking. But yeah, it was Kovacic that equalised. And then after 50 minutes, there was a very, 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 very controversial VAR decision for our goal. I don't know how it... I think the last thing I remember was Pulisic followed the ball in when the ball is played. It looks as if he was either offside or onside. Whichever way you looked at it, looked as if he was on, it looked like he was off. But apparently, the referee and VAR just had loads and loads of time to talk about it. And then it was finally given. The goal was finally given. But that time that was wasted by talking about that goal, we had like 7 minutes in the stoppage time right at the end of the game. That's what caused that. And then, well, we had a penalty conceded. We conceded a penalty because of Jorginho bringing the guy down, which technically, to be truthfully honest with you, it was... I don't know what you'd make of that challenge. It was either Jorginho got fouled or he fouled the player or whatever. It looked as if Jorginho got fouled, but apparently, I don't know, is it penalty because reasons? I don't know. But thankfully, Kepa made the save. He saved the penalty. And he was a hero for about, I don't know, 10 minutes. Because what happened after that, courtesy of some endless pressure by Valencia and our defence just holding out for as long as possible. Valencia end up scoring a goal from the fullback. And, well, I don't even know what Kepa did. I have no idea how Kepa even allowed that ball to go straight over his head and then hit the post and go in. Don't ask me how that happened. On a better day, Kepa could have easily just picked that ball up, no problem. He pretty much did that. Give credit where it's due. Kepa, when he had crosses delivered into him, he was in the right places, in the right positions. It was decision-making, kicking the ball out, and that goal was where I just felt Kepa had a very 50-50 game. There were times where his positioning was fine in the penalty box. It was everything else that was questionable for him. Especially when he was kicking the ball out, just like he was doing against Manchester City. It was like kicking the ball out for no reason, just no thought process behind kicking the ball, and he gives it straight to the player. He did exactly the same against Man City. Even after Valencia had equalised, you'd think, okay, maybe that's probably the end of it. Maybe Chelsea will come out, or maybe we can come out and maybe have as much urgency as we need to get out and maybe get a third goal to win us the game. No. Absolutely not. Valencia just continued. Even at 2-2, they continued to continuously pressure us over and over and over again. Valencia could have scored 4 goals tonight. The only reason why they didn't was because it seems that they weren't clinical enough at the right time. If this was against a top quality team, if it was against Liverpool, if it was against Man City, if it was against Barcelona, Real Madrid even. God, imagine going up against Eden Hazard with that. If it was against any of those teams, would have been thumped. Absolutely thumped. Because today, both in the first half and even worse in the second half, our defence were poor. Absolutely poor. I'm sorry, it was I don't know how many times it goes along with the game that we had against Man City. Just so much space for Valencia to just play the ball so easily. Because, they had an incentive. They needed to get a goal. It was only a matter of time. Because our defence was just so poor. What do you expect against a team like Valencia when they really need to get a goal? Because they have to get a goal because, the group stage depends on them getting a goal. Thank God we didn't lose, though. Thank God we didn't lose. I think if we can take anything positive away from this, it's the fact that we didn't lose. I don't know what the score is between Ajax and Lille right now. I think the last time I checked it was 1-0 to Ajax. But if it stays like that, this is what we need for going into the final match day. We need Ajax to do us a favour. We need Ajax to beat Valencia. And we simply need to beat Lille at home. Now, when you look at our home record in the Champions League, it's not great because we haven't won either of our games. We didn't beat Valencia, we lost to them, and we didn't beat Ajax. I mean, technically, yes, we should have beaten Ajax. It was a good game. It was a very good game against Ajax. It ended 4-4. But the fact of the matter is we didn't win that. And, if we're going into this game against Lille, knowing that we haven't won a game at home in Europe, and we're relying on that, you think on paper, we should win it. And when you look at the game between Ajax and Valencia, you think that Ajax could win that. Because Ajax are a pretty damn good side. Let's not take that away from them. They are a very, very good side, especially at home. I think we're the only team in the last, 20 to 30 games that Ajax have played at home where they've lost. So, with that said, you'd think that Ajax may beat Valencia there. But we got out of jail today. Defending was poor today. Absolutely poor. I'm so glad that it wasn't a loss. I mean, otherwise, if this was going up against a top quality side, we'd be going away with a loss. Let's be honest with you on that. I'm just going to go ahead and just have a look at the lineups here because I haven't been bothered to do that. Kepa was in goal, obviously, as we've mentioned. James Christensen replaced Tomori, I think, going into this game. So Christensen was in, Zuma and Azpilicueta. Kante, Jorginho, Kovacic. Kovacic was the best player on the pitch. Without question. He got a goal and he was just everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. He was the guy that was holding us all together, pretty much. Willian was poor. Now, people will have mixed feelings about Willian, but I felt Willian, so many times today, he slowed the game down. So many times in the past he's done that, and this was no exception. He was very, very poor. The amount of misplaced passes, the amount of times he was slowing the game down when he had the ball on the wing. Tammy Abraham, now I forgot Tammy Abraham. Tammy Abraham, he came off with a rib injury right on the stroke of half time. Now, everyone was fearing that he'd broken his rib. And, we weren't sure because, right at the end of the game, we had to find out right until the end when it was confirmed that it was only a bruised rib. So that's big news for Chelsea. That's big news for us fans because if this was a broken rib, then we wouldn't be seeing Tammy Abraham for very much going into the remainder of this season. We'd be seeing a lot of Batshuayi and, finally, we'd have Olivier Giroud with a bit of use. Because Giroud hasn't really had very much use this season because of Abraham, because of Batshuayi. Pulisic was good. He was 50-50 actually. I mean, he got the goal. He got the controversial goal. He had good runs and he had good runs down the middle. It was frustrating when he got into the box and he made that pass in. He just kept misplacing it all the time. His runs were okay, but I just felt that his ball was lacking. His final ball was lacking. Up front, we were severely lacking especially in the first half. First half, very, very dominant. When Valencia gradually got themselves into the game, suddenly they were starting to become the more dominant team. Then they got the goal. We kind of turfed it out by equalising ourselves. But then the second half was all Valencia. The only time it was ever in our favour in the second half was that controversial goal. It was all Valencia throughout the remainder of the second half. And our poor defending held out for as long as we could. But it was only a matter of time that we had to make one mistake. And it just happened to be our keeper. I mean, it's not just Kepa today. It's not just Kepa. It's our entire backline. Our entire backline has real problems under pressure, especially under a top quality team. Valencia, they've had a very, very poor form at the start of their season in La Liga. They're not exactly a glamorous team when you compare them to the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG, your Man Cities, your Liverpools. When you look at them and you think, we're under pressure against a side like that, on a better day, they could have finished all their chances and we could have lost. Too many spaces being given, poor marking. It was just lacklustre. And I'm not really pleased. I'm not really pleased. I don't even know what to say. I think we should be proud that we haven't lost today. But I feel that this was a game that should have been taken easily. But then why do we make it so hard on ourselves when we just concede goals like this and we allow the opposition to get themselves somehow into the game? Even though we've literally dominated the very, very first parts of the game. We should have had this game sewn up from start to finish, but we didn't. We ended up making it hard for ourselves. Again. Honestly, this team just makes me feel like I just want to put my eyes out for some reason and just give them to someone else and just not allow me to go blind for the rest of my life. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just so aggravating to watch this team just look under pressure like this against a team that, you know, well, to be honest with you, like I've already mentioned it, haven't I? I've already mentioned it. It just like, this is what I get. This is how I get sometimes when I'm frustrated about things. I just tend to repeat myself. But let's just be glad that we didn't lose today. Let's just be glad that we got a point. Okay, let's just be glad that technically, if we can beat Lille and Ajax can beat Valencia, or maybe even better scenario, if we can beat Lille and Ajax and Valencia can draw, we can leapfrog and go first. That's what we can do. That is in fact, you know what? That's a perfect scenario. But let's be honest. I think on a realistic point of view, we would like to see Ajax get a win. Because if we allow Valencia to win, I think on head-to-head, because they've beaten us at Stamford Bridge, on head-to-head, they would actually progress and we would go into the Europa League because they've got the better head-to-head. So yeah, we absolutely need Ajax to win. Do us a favour. You know, Ajax gave us an absolute classic. Let's just hope that Ajax do us a favour and reward us with that absolute classic against them at Stamford Bridge and help us get through. Because that would be nice. That would be fantastic. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. Check out all of my social media links in the description down below. And yes, extremely, extremely stressful game. Extremely dramatic. Honestly, I'm so glad that we haven't lost that game because we definitely deserved to because our defending was poor today. And Valencia, well, if they had finished their chances better, they'd be going away with a win and we'd be losing. But thank you very much for watching this video, guys. Until the next one, I shall see you later. Hey, door, and peace.